and thank you for joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. She's Kim McAllister. I'm Nikki Maduro, and I'm sorry. We need to wish the one and only Kim McAllister a very happy birthday today.
You are a sneaker. How did you know?
You knew I was going to forget.
Did you write it down somewhere? What's going on with you?
Hey, you are important enough to me to remember. And Did
you look at Facebook? What are you doing?
No, I did not.
Wow.
I have it in my phone. I have it in my phone to remind me every year. You are
really remember.
Important enough to be in my life and in my phone, because if it's not in my phone, it doesn't exist. So happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you.
Do we have any birthday plans this weekend or anything?
It's a big graduation day.
Yeah,
Today, my nephew graduates from 6th grade.
Oh.
So the day is going to be about him and his little after party.
Oh, that's interesting. 6th grade graduation. We did 5th grade graduation.
Because
so
here in this town, it's you go from K to 6th or TK to 6th.
Okay.
Then there's junior high is 7, 8, and then high school.
That's how
why.
I went to a K through 8, but you were considered in junior high in 7th and 8th, not in 6th grade.
And so then tomorrow, my niece graduates from high school. This is the one who's going on to UCLA. So I've got a 6th grade graduation and a high school graduation, and my birthday's not very important. So I'm celebrating with you right now.
Happy birthday to Kim McAllister. We love you. I adore you. I love you, love you so very much.
That's nice.
Okay, well, today there is something happening besides your birthday. It's not as exciting at all, but apparently a lot of people are going to pay a lot of money to hang out with convicted felon Donald J. Trump. So there is a fundraiser happening in the Bay Area today. Now, right now, I don't know I don't know if it's been released where exactly it's going to be held. Maybe it's been released, but I don't know where it's going to be. The invitation circling online says it will be hosted by tech billionaire David Sachs. Sachs. So, they're allowed to do that. He's, of Kraft. He's general partner, David Sachs is, of Kraft Ventures. It's a venture capital fund. He was also the product leader of PayPal and the COO of PayPal. He was an angel investor in Facebook, Uber, SpaceX. He, whatever. I'm not going to say, I'm really not going to say anything more about him. Although his Wikipedia page says since 2022, David Sachs has been increasingly commenting on the Russian invasion of Ukraine, taking an anti-U.S. involvement in Ukraine policy. So, politically, he seems to be really in. Sachs was also the moderator when Ron DeSantis announced his presidential campaign on Twitter Spaces. So it's no surprise that this guy has his, foot firmly planted in the Republican, and then of course Donald Trump, since he's the nominee, right? So it's not surprising that it's going to be there. My surprise is the amount of people that are going to say the economy sucks and spends $300,000 to give money to a supposed billionaire.
That's for a single ticket. It's $500,000 per couple. Yeah.
Well, then you get a deal if it's two. If you bring a friend, you get $100K off. But again, it's like, oh my God, the economy sucks. Really, billionaire Sachs? Really, all you people that can afford to pay $300,000 to $500,000 to donate to a guy that, I'm sorry, I thought could afford it. I thought that Donald Trump was so freaking rich that he could afford it. And that brings me to this interview that Jon Stewart gave. He was on with Tom Segura, who I actually just saw. He's a comedian. He's really funny. I love Tom Segura. So Jon Stewart was talking with him on this Two Bears, One Cave podcast, I guess. And he was talking about, and he's sharing the story. I'm going to play it for you. But just when he learned about why things in Washington work the way that they do. And it's not like oh my God. But when you're in it like Jon Stewart was and you see it in action like right in front of your face, it is a little mind-blowing. Here it is.
I go to Washington all the time, man. There's more defense contractor lobbyists than there are people in Congress.
Yeah.
They're outnumbered.
Sure.
And they are wined and dined.
Deep pockets.
The greatest example is like Wall Street. People in New York, the senators, the congresspeople are supposed to be progressive. Wall Street gets away with a shit ton because they pay all those legislators. This would be the place where reform would have a home.
Exactly.
New York City.
Nope.
They're all like, well, maybe the tax should be 20% on capital gain. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe if you have a hedge fund, it shouldn't get taxed like regular money. And so you see how powerful, like, they don't have fucking time. I remember when we went down there.
Now, this is the story. Listen to this.
The first version of what was called the PACT Act, which was that Toxic Exposure Act for veterans. So we got together a bipartisan group of Congress people. And we all sat around a table. And I was there with Rosie and Leroy Torres, who were going to lay out like what they'd been through over the last 10 years, what was going on these military bases, all the terrible health effects of the different things. It was very similar to the 9/11. We lay it all out, very compelling. They're all on board. And then they go, but here's the thing.
Listen to this. Listen.
So there's so much going on down here. Could you guys write it? The legislation. Could you write it? And I'm like, I could write a 10-minute bit about the legislation, but I don't know the first thing about it.
Right.
They don't know the first. But in that moment, I thought, that's how this shit happens. So imagine you're not trying to get health care for veterans. You're trying to get banking regulations eased so that you can make derivative swaps on mortgages and blow up the world financial system. And you go in and you say, this is this thing, and it makes a ton. And they go,
can you write it?
Could you write it? If I have to.
If I have to write the rules that regulate me, sure. And that's what happens. And so when you see Donald Trump and these people paying $300,000, they're not doing it just so he's president. They're doing it so that they can create the world, the country, the laws that they want. And I know that's not mind-blowing information, but it should be. It should piss you off so badly because you struggling to pay your PG&E bill, you know what I mean, when that water bill comes, and you think Donald Trump gives two rats' butts about you? You're insane. And I'm not saying that this is only on the Republican side either. Like, this is how politics works on both sides, all sides of the aisle. And it sucks. It really, really sucks. And if Donald Trump becomes president again, there's just going to be more of it. It's frightening. I know the world makes, money makes the world go round and all that nonsense, but it's frightening.
This is the way the system works. This is the way America works. I will say this is also the way Donald Trump functions,
exactly.
Right? With the, pay to play kind of thing. That's his whole personality, what seems like what he's based his systems for his all of his companies, his hotels, everything. So I agree it would get worse under him. I don't know.
Well, there's a great bit, and speaking of another comedian, Dave Chappelle had done, and he had gone and was listening. This was, I think, when Trump was running for re-election, or maybe it was the first time, and he's standing in line, and because he doesn't live in some rich community. There's there's some rich people and there's other average people, and Dave Chappelle was like, Trump knows the system. He works within it. He's like, if the tax laws, he knows them. He knows how to use them to his benefit. Right. The reason why he has so many bankruptcies is because it works for him. Yeah. You mean I don't have to pay that back? You mean you're going to give me all this money and I could do all of this and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't, but I don't have to pay you back? I would feel ashamed. Not ashamed, but if I had to go through bankruptcy, I'd be really upset about it. Right?
Sure. Like, I'd be embarrassed. Like, how did I fail?
Oh my God,
how did I screw up?
Yeah. He's proud of it. He's like, they gave me the money. I'm trying to make it work.
To him, there's no emotion attached to those things for him. There's just dollar signs, cut and dry. This is how it works. He takes it to a new level. Yeah.
It sucks. And I don't understand why it's not enough. Like, there's so many memes, and I know we talk about this constantly, like of the bar and how low it gets. Like, oh, that's not enough to not vote for Donald Trump. That's not enough to vote for Donald Trump. But there was this other video I saw on Instagram I'm going to play for you. And this guy has an excellent point. And when we talk about, criminal justice reform and even people that want to work their way up, pull themselves up from their bootstraps and all this sort of stuff, keep this in mind now, because this dude is telling the truth. Here we go.
Then we absolutely, without...
Hold on. So he said, if Donald Trump is a convicted felony, then he's going to continue.
Doubt in this country need to make sure felon is removed off of all job applications. Felon is removed off of rental applications.
Mm-hmm.
Felon is removed off of professional certifications, things like dentists, massage therapists, realtors, mortgage loan officers. Those are professional certifications. Anything like that, felon needs to be removed off of it, because the highest position in the land should be the most sacred and should be the example for everybody in this country. And if this is not a political post, this is an equal opportunity post, and this is a post that is about not holding down the everyday average American citizen.
I completely agree. You know what I mean? Like, so the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, the leader of this country can be a convicted felon. You'll still vote for him. You'll still give him all the, the codes and everything like that. That's fine. But a guy has a marijuana conviction on his record from when he was 16 years old, and now he can't get a job, and now he has to put that. Why? Why? Like, if it's okay for Donald Trump, why is it just not good enough for the rest of us? And if it's not good enough for the rest of us, why is it good enough for him to still be president? I just don't understand it. I don't get it. And, not that that's going to change anything, but I'm just saying there's no shame anymore, Kim. There's just no shame. And it sucks.
No, there's one set of rules for him and another set for everyone else.
Exactly.
No.
Well, speaking of someone with no shame, and I know this came out a few days ago, but we weren't able to touch on it until now. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones had warned that his media company is facing an imminent shutdown by the federal government because of his bankruptcy cases.
He had a freak out.
Yeah, a judge on Monday allowed Jones to keep operating for the next 2 weeks while it's decided whether his assets should be liquidated. He should be liquidated.
Yes. Sell everything.
His company, Free Speech Systems, gag me, filed for bankruptcy reorganization after he lost those two lawsuits and was ordered to pay $1.5 billion to relatives of the Sandy Hook shooting. Again, they sued him because he called it a hoax, and then it led to people doxing parents that lost their children in the biggest tragedy ever. I think, of course, anybody that doxed, anybody that shamed those parents should face jail and prison time. I think if you have the audacity, even if you believe it in your freaking soul that it's a false flag or whatever, how dare you go to a family's home and tell them that their child is still alive or their child never existed or any of the other nonsense that Alex Jones encouraged these people to do? It blows my mind. He has Jones was on his free speech systems, whatever, with emergency broadcasts saying they're going to be shut down by the federal government, blah, blah, blah. He's pulling a Trump card with this, Kim. And I don't know if he's going to have the same kind of sympathy from the public as Donald Trump seems to get from his supporters.
You know what I wish? I wish people would remember. Even the people that were at Trump rallies shouting, "Lock her up."
Yes.
I wish people would remember this, because now we have Trump coming out and saying, "Wait, I never said that." Really? Listen to this.
Yeah, exactly. I wish that we could do stuff like that in real. Is this not you? Is this not you? Is this not you? Okay, go ahead.
Pretty openly, I say, "All right, come on, just relax. Let's go. We got to make our
I'm rewinding
lock her up." Okay. Then we won, and I said pretty openly, I say, "All right, come on, just relax. Let's go. We got to make our country great."
No. Remember? Lock her up. Now he says he never said it.
Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, and she never went to jail, people. Never went to jail.
Lock them up. You should lock them up. Lock up the Bidens. Lock up Hillary.
There you go.
I mean, really? And now he says he never said it. He says he never said it.
Of course. He's like a child.
I mean, how much more blatant of a lie could you have?
Everybody knows. But again, gaslighting.
We have the tape.
Gaslighting, yeah, exactly.
We have the tape. Rewind, re-rack, and roll it again, because we have the tape. And so if he's lying about that, which is an obvious one, then mustn't he be lying about other things? So if I'm a Trump supporter and that's thrown in my face, would it not give you pause?
I don't think anything gives these people pause because, again, they have no shame. Okay, and I'm going to throw this in, and I know that this doesn't make excuses for anybody, but I also think it has a lot to do with the age we live in, right? Where people make serious money, Kim, a lot of money by spewing conspiracy, by making people afraid, by going down these impossible, like non-factual rabbit holes just because they get views, they get clicks, they get donations. I mean, it sucks to say it like that, but I do think for a lot of people, it is for Alex Jones. I mean, he tried to, remember, in the court, he's like, I didn't really believe it. Again, roll the tapes, roll it. Dude.
Exactly.
You did it, and there were consequences for your actions. You went, with your blowhorn and just spewed such hateful things about people going through the biggest tragedy of their lives and made a butt ton of money off of it. So there's this economic drive for people to be like, well, if they could do it, I could sell my soul to be a multimillionaire. I can do it. Like, all I have to do is put my moral code aside. And sadly, Kim, I think a lot of people are willing to make that deal with the devil, right? It's like, screw it. You know what? There's one life. You're a moron to believe all the nonsense that I'm spewing. I'm going to steal your hard-earned dollar and come on down. I mean, remember all those people that sat out thinking that John Kennedy Jr. was going to come back from the dead? Remember? Yeah. And they were like waiting on this grassy knoll. So like, are you? And then when he didn't, they had to like make it make sense in their mind as if you're not suffering from a cultish mental illness. Like you haven't been so intensely deceived, and it's the same with, you were talking about Hillary Clinton, Pizzagate. That guy, the only thing that got through to the guy was there was no basement. Remember? That was what got through to him. He's like, well, you said it was in the basement, and there's no basement. Not the fact that it's insane to believe, but that the logistics weren't there, and that's what finally got through to him.
Crazy.
And I don't know how we deprogram all these people. I really don't.
I don't either. The people that have come, I'm sorry, I know we got off on this tangent, but the people that have come to their senses, it seems like every time I read a story that says, longtime Trumper realizes it was all, is all a lie. Woohoo!
We need to open our arms to them, though, Kim. Like, we can't make fun of them,
Well, it's true, but it's always, every time I read a story like that, it's always because one of the lies that they somehow believed in or held on to, there was this amazing and non-disputable proof. And it made them, it made their whole foundation collapse, like the whole House of Cards thing, right? Yeah. So if you pull out one of the things, then it all crumbles down. And that's what I'm hoping the lock her up thing will do. Because there he is lying, outright lying, saying, I never said it. And there he is on tape saying it.
But in past years, Kim, that would have been enough. But even playing that, you'd be like, oh, I didn't mean it. You could even say right now with the proliferation of like deep fakes, he could be like, it wasn't me. Remember he tried to do that with the Access Hollywood tape? And everyone's like, no, dude, we're not buying that nonsense. Yeah. But again, I feel like when you're talking about the House of Cards and like you pull one, like, well, if that's not true, then that can't be true. Right. I feel for some people, they just don't care. Like they're so in it that it doesn't matter. It's like, well, even if that's not true, I'm going to latch onto this. And then if that's not true, I'm going to latch onto that. They're latching onto so many things. And I think the final thing, in my opinion, that they're latching onto is they don't want to be made a fool of. And that is so, and it's hard to be, I don't want to be mean. It's hard to be this big of a fool, right? Like, I'm sure people have lost spouses, children, relationships, jobs because of the nonsense that they decided to go with, right? And so if they literally admit, oh my God, I've been fooled, their reality over the past several years crumbles. And that is not an easy thing to ask people to accept, especially if we, I don't want to like put ourselves on a pedestal, but us sane people that believe things with our own eyes and ears make fun of them, right? Like, oh my God, how can you be such a moron? Like, no, just be like, okay, I'm glad you came to your senses. I'm glad that you're looking around, you're being like, that guy is kind of full of crap. And that didn't actually happen. And he was caught in that lie. And no, it wasn't a Biden conviction. They did it with a 12-person jury, and that's how our system works. And like, the way we run this country has to matter to people, or you're in a cult and then you just have to call your dad and go home. I don't know. Like, it's just, It's sad.
Call your dad and go home.
Call your dad and go home. One more final thing on this conspiracy thing before we end the show, which I'm so happy about, which is something that just pissed me off to no end when people would send me these links, was that stupid quote unquote documentary / mockumentary, which total full of lies, 2,000 Mules. It was all about the election fraud.
Yeah.
This is the whole like, oh my God, what do they have? They're passing a stick of gum, and oh my God, that's it's a USB thing and it's transferring. It was nonsense. Okay. So it was all kinds of false conspiracies about the 2020 presidential election. Well, it was by Dinesh D'Souza, and it's been removed by its executive producer and publisher, Salem Media Group. They yanked it, and also apologized to Mark Andrews, who was a Georgia man falsely accused of ballot stuffing. Now, Andrews in late 2022 filed a federal defamation lawsuit against the company, D'Souza, and the nonprofit advocacy group True the Vote, which contributed to the 2,000 Mules project. The film was released in 2022. The company claimed that 2,000 Mules was the most successful political documentary in a decade, had grossed $10 million in its first few weeks of release. Now, I don't know if those numbers are actually true, because you could just buy, if you're a company, it's just like books, right? You could buy them all and make it, you're like the number one person. That's just how it goes. But whatever. Apparently, a lot of people fell for it. It became part of, the far right's call to action, like, watch this. It's the proof that we need. And it was total full of crap. Like, it was lie after lie after lie. And you would think that, like we were just talking about, this was like the card that's pulled. Oh my God, they had to yank the film. Oh my God, they had to apologize. But no. If the committee that looked into the last election, if all of that evidence, all of those Republicans, Trump appointees testifying about what happened on January 6th wasn't enough to get through to people, I think sadly I'm giving up on a lot of them, and I'm praying for most of them, and I'm hoping that they do come around, Kim, because if they don't, I just don't know where we're going to be later this year when the election happens.
What I don't understand is how you can think that all of the people charged in connection with all of these Trump cases, because it's not just Trump.
No.
It's people all the people that are responsible for the lies.
Yes.
That all of this is a setup?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Exactly. And it doesn't make sense when you say it that way, but they make it make sense,
We had, even this week in Wisconsin, felony forgery charges were filed. This was on Tuesday night, and it's against 2 Trump attorneys and a Trump aide who helped submit paperwork falsely stating that Trump had won the battleground state, Wisconsin, in 2020. He didn't.
He didn't.
They tried to steal it. They tried to do false paperwork. They tried to do false electors. They tried to do anything they could to steal. And then they turn around and accuse the other side of stealing. It's this thing we talked about a couple of days ago. Yep. It's opposites day. Whatever they say is what they actually tried to do.
They project what they're actually going to do. And it's absolutely ridiculous. All right. Click the thumbs up button. Tomorrow, we're going to talk a little bit of lighter stuff. We're going to talk about traveling. There was a survey that had come out about whether or not people are, because airline flights are insane. So let us know in the comments. Are you flying? Are you driving? Are you staying home? What do you have planned? So that's going to be coming up tomorrow. I do want to wish the amazing Kim McAllister a very, very happy birthday. I want you to enjoy your day. I want you to celebrate yourself. I know you have graduations.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that you're alive.
It's not like a milestone, and then you get older.
Every
and it
birthday
just becomes
is a milestone.
Less important. I mean, it's better than the alternative, right?
Thank you. Every birthday is a milestone. I know it's not a 0 or a 5 at the end of it.
I know.
I don't think so. But
no,
I'm saying, you're like, no, it's not. But I'm just saying, everyone, just treat it like the gift that it is, and you're a gift to all of us. So thank you, and happy birthday, my friend. And you can give Kim a gift by clicking that thumbs up button and hitting that subscribe and that bell button. Make sure you follow us on all our social medias as well. If you could donate to the show, we really do appreciate it. Our Patreon, become a monthly Patreon subscriber. I call you guys my Madorables, and I appreciate it oh so very much. So just go to theNikkiMadoroshow.com. Patreon link is there. The super chat is also live. If you want to do it and have everybody see it, you could do that as well. A super sticker, a super thanks. Also PayPal. We love PayPal. PayPal is great. So go to paypal.com, hit the send button, and then put the email address, thenikkimaduroshow@gmail.com. And then finally, it's a great time to barbecue and a great time to pick up Auntie Tabby's Island Flavor sauces. Go to auntietabbies.com. You can get a hibiscus hot sauce, a pineapple hot sauce, and a guava barbecue sauce that will make your next barbecue even more delicious. And if you use the coupon code NIKKIM, NIKKIM, you get 10% off each and every single time you order. All right, we will talk to you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for being here. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.